Hello, I'm Keith Lawrence, Director of Granby System Wrestling. This is Tape 10, Takedowns Volume 4, Tilts, Turns, and Pins. On this tape, we're going to expand on what was taught in tape number 7 and show a new series of holds that relates directly and makes all the top work even more systematic. I think you'll like the enhancements. You're certainly going to get a lot more back points and more opportunities to pin. Also, we're going to have a segment on the art of pinning, how to pin, and all sorts of details about it, and then actually show pinning in a variety of different situations. So let's get started. I have some wrestlers here to help me that are trained all their lives in this stuff and are very good with it. Let me introduce them first, and we'll get started on some technique. First is Damian Robinson. You guys come right on over here and let me introduce you so they'll know who we're going to be. Damian Robinson wrestles for us here at Kempsville. He's one of the top wrestlers in the state. Also, Nick Ramsey, one of our Kempsville wrestlers, and well-trained top wrestler in the state. Brian Miller, you guys move this way a little bit, make sure she can get you in. Brian Miller is a Kempsville state champion and also All-American college wrestler, and has been on a video before. You guys have seen him if you've bought some of our other videos. Also Sean Early, one of our top wrestlers at Kempsville, and is now a college wrestler, and you've also seen him on some other tapes. So they'll be helping me throughout the tape. Okay, let me have Sean stay out here with Nick right now at first, and then I'll bring you guys back on here in just a minute. All right, if you take the bottom, Nick, and let me start out on top. And the first thing I'd like to do is to just give a very brief review on the breakdowns that were taught in great detail on tape 7. And those of you that have tape 7 know about it. If you don't have tape 7, at some point after watching this tape, I think you'll probably want it. It shows a lot of the details about some of the things we're going to skim over and also associate with the holds that we're going to teach here today. And so the first thing I want to just talk about is breaking people down, because this is all going to be built around a breakdown series that's going to turn into tilts. That first segment in our tape, that's what we're going to be doing. And so it's very important that you know the technique for breaking an arm down and being able to get the man under control. And there are two basic patterns for doing it. One is called the Radman ride, named after a teammate and friend of mine named George Radman. And it's a chopping, powerful motion where Sean is going to, on the whistle, he's going to twist and cut that elbow in. He's going to drive his shoulder forward as he pulls the ribs in tight on the tight waist position, and then drives his knee up in the butt and breaks the man down. Come back again. It's a very quick, snappy, powerful move, great for stopping people's stand-ups and other moves that they make on the bottom. The ingredients are that you twist the elbow to break that grip so that it's not straight. Very strong when it's straight. When you twist it, much weaker, you can break it. At the same time, you're driving your shoulder high and sticking it into the back up toward his neck. And you're also then, if you'll take just a little sideways pull, Sean, you're squeezing tight on his ribs and tipping that knee up a little bit as you jam in with that back foot and break the man down. Do a quick one. Just one real snappy, powerful one. Ready? Go. Power. And as he's coming down, he's controlling the wrist for the things that we want to do in a few minutes when we start showing these techniques. Another breakdown that is equally effective, and in some cases more effective, in particular if he's not a quick, powerful stand-up man, would be crunching the hips. And I'm going to take you, Sean, and just give that first demonstration on that. And it's been my experience in teaching that the Radman is just top-notch and hard to beat. But it's also been my experience that once people master the Radman, they then need to get these guys that they can't break down with the Radman, which are common. Some guys brace real hard and you can't take them down. And so you need to do a waist ride or a hip ride that's a deep, tight waist at the same time that you control the arm over here. The general theory of it, which really works in practical terms, is that I'm going to pull this hip down, I'm going to pull this hip up with my elbow, and as I pull it up, I'm going to walk it over and pull it into my lap so that then I can crunch him down and put the breakdown on him right here. Watch these boys, they're real good at that. Let's do it a little bit at an angle so they can see. Nick, no, the other direction right there, so he can see. The first thing is controlling the arm at the same time as you're sinking to the hip. Once the hip is controlled, you're going to pull the hip down as your knee keeps your balance. You don't fall on your side, and you pull the man under your belly and then into the breakdown. Do it facing the other way so they can see the hip control on the other side. I always call this the crunch breakdown because you're putting the crunch on. And as you sink for the far hip, you're going to lift this hip up. This hip comes up, go back again, and this hip on this side is pulled down. Now, a lot of people here will fall on their side or break down from here. I don't like that much, and I don't think that's very safe. I don't think it's a good place to go. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that as you're tipping those hips, you are walking your knee out and pulling him right down underneath you to break him down. It's very, very tough. And what happens in the course, let me have Nick, once you learn this and you get your feel and your rhythm of doing this breakdown, and the radman too, you find that in the moving of wrestling on the bottom, when the man is making his movements and you're following his hips and staying with him, that you get all kinds of opportunities to slip deep and crunch him. Not just on the whistle, but in all sorts of other positions too. Now, let me make one mention of the arm. Because when you slip over here, you can't leave the arm. You can't just let it go. As you slip, you put some pressure into it. He won't come down. It won't break him, but you hold him so he can't do much with it. Then when you come across, then you're basically pulling both elbows in together. Very powerful. In fact, if you're just an average strong guy, this makes you feel like a very strong guy because your muscles are being used together in unison. It makes you much stronger. Now, taking those breakdowns, then let's step into the new stuff that I want to show you that ultimately will tie in with the techniques for tape 7. And we're calling this a roll through tilt. So there's other names for it. Some people put names on it.